Well, Wally, I've been pretty well every place that there was a brook or a creek or a lake. On Kings County, fly fishing, I've been at Big Pond, I fished at New Frage, I fished at Cow River, I fished at, believe it or not, at Basin Head. Up at East Lake was a beautiful place for fishing trout, and my most beautiful place in the world as far as I'm concerned, even if I don't get a trout, is North Lake. That to me is my home.
Right.
Black Pond, I've done a lot of fishing at Black Pond. Not so much fly fishing at Black Pond because there's too much water and it's dark water in Black Pond.
Yeah.
So it's mostly bait fishing or fishing with worm or fishing with gudgeon or smelt, like that, Wally.
Yeah.
But Big Pond was another fine place. Johnson's, Larkin's, down towards St. Peter's Bay down in that area. Magell, Morel. I fished down in Knox's Dam with Rankin Keenan from Murray Harbour. I fished Monaco Bridge down there. That's just some of the places, Wally, that I can think of here now while I'm speaking to you.
Yeah. Do you catch and release?
If I get big fish, I usually do, yes.
Yes.
Especially female fish. Years ago, when I was a younger man, you could go out and catch 20 trout. It was pretty near a joke. You could go to Big Pond, although Big Pond trout weren't as big as they were at North Lake or East Lake or even Black Pond. But you could go at that time, you could leave and go in the afternoon and pick up 20 trout. You could go at Black Pond and 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning and pick up trout weighing a pound or a pound and a half. North Lake, you could go and get them up as 4 or 5 pounds. With bait or with fly or anything at all. There'd probably be 20 or 30 or 50 people at North Lake in the first day in the morning, everybody going home with 20 trout. Back then, if some poor creature was there and didn't have able to fish too much, you'd have your own trout, and you'd everybody would throw the young fella enough that he'd take home too. But back now, where the seals and the cormorants is getting so plentiful, and really are, in my mind, I know there's a lot of people who won't agree with me, but in my mind, the cormorants and the seal today is taking a lot of fish. And they've got us, our limit now is down to 6. Well, if it goes below 6, you might as well stay home. At the price of gasoline, you have a boat, you have a motor to go, and you have buy a fly fishing gear today, it'll cost you $50 just for an ordinary pole. It'll cost you that for a fly line. Buy a small hook to go fly fishing now. They're $1.25 or $1.50 each. It costs you a few dollars to go fishing today, Wally.
Yeah.
And but it's enjoyable, and I've taken my grandchildren and my granddaughters with me, and they love trout fishing. But the only thing I have to say about fly fishing, you can't take your granddaughters or your grandsons with you, because when the fly is up in the air, you could hook them on the face or something. But when you're fishing worms and that, you can fire an old worm on and let them have a bobber, and so. And then when they get older, 15 or 16, you can learn them how to fly fish then.
Yeah. Did you ever get a trophy fish? Fish that was so big that you couldn't believe what you had?
Yes, I've done that a few years out in St. Charles store there. They had them for the biggest fish, and I've got that over the years, and then they stopped, and I wondered why. But if everybody, even including myself, I done wrong. I kept them big fish, and I'd go and weigh them, and if it wasn't quite big enough, I needed one a bigger, a pound or so bigger, and they'd be up to 4 or 5 pounds. And it didn't matter if they were male or female. We'd take them and go out and measure them and weigh them and get a nice little trophy and that. But we were keeping an awful lot of big fish. So good enough, and I'm glad they done it. The Fish and Wildlife got together and they went to those different organizations, and they said, look, everybody's taking those big trout, male and female. They're not releasing them as much, which I didn't myself either, looking for that stupid trophy.
Yeah.
And got it a few years, but there was an awful lot of big trout, male and female, that would have been released if it hadn't have been for those trophies, Wally.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So now there's no such a thing as the big fish. You can have the fun of hauling them in and playing it, and you know you got them. You'll take your time and play and give it a chance, and like that. I remember Graham Townsend and myself up at North Lake Hole in the evening, and a big salmon come out of the water, and I said, "Oh my God Almighty!" So I got the salmon, took him in, and Graham took the net and held it over and got him up in the net. He wasn't hurt; he was just barely hooked by the lip. And I said, "Well, Graham, I got to give him a kiss goodbye." So I reached over and gave the salmon a big kiss goodbye, held him for a minute, and away he went. And Graham said, "Well, Fan, there's one good thing about this release. They probably wouldn't believe that you got that big salmon like that, and you give him a kiss and let him go, but I'll back you up any day of the week on your story."